Welcome to another episode of Motocross Action's 2020 series. I'm Daryl Eklund, the managing editor here. Behind us, we have the 2020 Yamaha YZ250F. From the untrained eye, it looks the same. It has bold new graphics. The press release we got from Yamaha, it also said it just had bold new graphics. There is one minor change they left out. There's a rubber grommet now in the air filter so it doesn't suck dirt. Simply said, this helps dirt stay out of the airbox. When the engine's revved up, especially on the Yamaha 450, vibrates the air filter and dirt can get in. And same with the 250 on a smaller scale. Other than that, this bike is the same. It is our 2019 MXA Shootout winner. It was a great bike last year, mostly because KTM and Husky screwed up. 9 pounds heavier than the KTM 250S XF. It has less top horsepower than the KTM. It is wide, and we thought for 2020 they would address some of those issues. Obviously, they stayed complacent and nothing's changed. All the while, KTM, Husky, Kawasaki, Honda all upgraded their bikes. So the question is this bike going to remain king, or are all the other manufacturers going to capture that crown? We're going to have Josh Mosen, myself, and a few other guys today really have a first impression of this bike. We know this bike backwards and forwards already. We're gonna see if we can squeeze anything out of here. We also have the KTM, the Husky, and the Cowie out here to compare this bike to out of Glen Helen. So that's really gonna be a good testing grounds for the bike and our impressions of how it's gonna shape up for 2020. As you're watching Josh Mosen rip, what you didn't see is behind the scenes, we did a lot of testing today. Again, we had the KTM, Husky, Cowie, and the Yamaha. We did a lot of back-to-back testing. Me and Josh switched bikes pretty much all day. We did some drag racing. We went up the hills drag race. Interesting to see the Cowie and also the KTM get some notches up on the, I wouldn't say the Yamaha, but they definitely moved up in the ranks. Yamaha's still a great bike. Everyone's chasing after the Yamaha now. The Yamaha is a great bike. You jump on, you feel comfortable, has really good low to mid. It's a great beginner, novice, intermediate, obviously pro bike, but it has its issues. And this year, after riding the new Cowie and riding the updated KTM, you feel those issues a little more riding them back to back. Yeah, we love this bike. We don't love it as much as we did last year due to the fact that the other manufacturers did better. This bike feels fast, it turns really good, it has a lot of weight on the front end and the corners, what makes it feel track incredible, even in comparison to the Cowie and KTM. Power-wise, going up the hills, we really can fine-tune the Cowie and especially the KTM. The KTM up the hills and in drag race, where last year it kind of lacked off the bottom, this year it stepped up to the Yamaha a little bit and then pulled away. It has an extra over 1,000 RPMs to rev out and also has an extra horsepower on it. That being said, it doesn't sound like a great view, but it's just for coming off from last year off the high. Obviously, it's the same bike where the other bikes stepped up. And was that gap big enough last year to hold them off this year? And that's the real question, you know? Cowie just made really small improvement. They upgraded their airbox cover and a few other small things. But the gap, like I said, wasn't that big last year. We love the Kayaba SSS suspension. We love the power delivery. We love how anybody can get on it. We also switched maps and we tried different gearing. I think we went from a 50 to 51. Some guys liked it, some guys didn't. Most of the faster guys like the 50. The slower guys went to the 51. The power band's kind of short from bottom to mid, and it has doesn't have much over rev. Like for instance, the Cowie, especially the KTM or Husky. What we did last year, we put the Travis Preston map in, which should be on our website under the 2019 Yamaha 250F test, and that kind of smoothed out the power and made it a little bit longer, and that kind of helped out. Didn't have to shift left, longer gear ratio, stuff like that. And it's also worth mentioning that today we didn't suck any dirt. That rubber grommet did its job. Also, what we said in the 2019 test, and then after the test came out, the Star Racing guys were doing it. They're actually putting vents in the airbox cover. That actually got another half horsepower to a horsepower for us, which really made the bike more exciting and stuff. So if you're looking for more power, you can also put holes in the airbox cover. And it also is kind of neat because it's up top. It doesn't really get that much dirt in there. We still have a lot of testing to do not just with this bike, but mostly in comparison with the other bikes. We know what this bike can do, but we're kind of working on other bikes to see where it kind of falls. And right now we're kind of in the middle of that. Since we got 4 bikes right now, we're waiting on the other 2. As always, check out the future issue of Motocross Action Magazine for the full write-up of this test. And then as always, check out motocrossactionmag.com for all the 2020 updates, all the race coverage, product reviews, everything under the sun motocross related. Make sure to hit that subscribe button for any 2020 videos that come out you're informed on. And here's the latest 2020 250Fs that we tested.